My dudes, what's happening, man? This is Trent, and guess what? No art video this week. Oh man, I'm so sorry, but you know what? I got something even cooler for you. So I made a new video game, and it's called Aikida the Scrap Hunter, and it's free over on Steam only. You can swing on over to the link below the video and download that sweet puppy, leave a nice little review. Oh, you have no idea how valuable it is to get a nice review. Man, you know, when I get a nice review, it matters a lot to me. I sleep good that night. But you might be asking yourself, well, Trent, you say you made a game. Well, who programmed that for you? And who did all of your artwork and your sound effects and did all your game design? Because an artist can't be a game designer and a programmer, right? Well, guess what? I did all that stuff, except for a couple of animations and a lot of music. Well, 2 tracks from a guy named Chris Nairn, a good buddy of mine who I've known for many, many years. You might know him if you like K-pop, but I told him to tone down the K-pop vibes just a little bit for this one and go for that cyberpunk action vibe. But essentially, yeah, it was me staying up until 3 a.m. every morning for months on end to try to figure out how to program AI and turning the screws on every pixel of those saw blades, you know, and trying to tune it just right so that it's just the right level of challenging without being super frustrating, and then like developing all that buildup. There was so much that I learned from this process. I mean, I got to tell you, I've always loved making games, and I think that's been pretty clear ever since I was a kid. This is like a lifelong dream realized, by the way. But when you start to actually get into game design and you start making stages and you're watching people play it, well, let's just say it's extremely rewarding, but it comes with a good amount of challenge and frustration. I mean, you know, after beating my head against the wall many a night to try to figure out why certain code doesn't work, you know, I'm looking forward to getting back to just doing some straight up painting. It's going to be very zen, meditative kind of levels of relaxing to only have one job to do. So Aikida, the Scrap Hunter, what is it? It's the story of a couple of outlaws who go scavenging through these old remains of abandoned facilities looking for illegal technology and military equipment, because it goes for a high price on the black markets. But in a sense, you're really just collecting a whole lot of parts throughout these stages and trying to beat your previous time. It doesn't get super heavy, but it can be very challenging at times, and I've seen people struggle for about 20 minutes on one stage. So you're looking at about 2.5 to 3 hours of gameplay here is kind of coming in as the average. If you beat all the stages and you collect 100% scrap, you get yourself access to a couple of secret hidden features, which is kind of cool. You can fly the Javelin as you bust your way into Facility 32. Once you get in, you can actually drive a tank, which has homing rockets. That's a heck of a lot of fun. There was a part of me that wanted to make this game extremely difficult, but I realized, you know, I wanted to make something also that was very accessible, something that could just be fun for, you know, my 5-year-old nephew to play, for example. And he played it and he loved it. He loved it so much he gave it 1,000,000 out of 10 stars. Now that's a testimonial right there. And you might be asking yourself, well, why the heck would a game this awesome, this ridiculously awesome, be free? And, you know, I to be honest, I just don't really need the money. I'm doing this as a hobby. I make my living from making games, AAA games, and doing contract work and doing the YouTube thing. So making indie games is sort of a hobby for me. I'm not going to charge you for my training. And by the way, it's not at the level of some big AAA, you know, 200-man studio. This is no GTA 5, you know. I think when it launches the online casino for Aikida, I think that's when I'll probably make some real money. No, I'm not launching shark cards or microtransactions. There is an optional way for you to support the game if you wanted to. There's a gold badge. And it doesn't do anything in the game, but it looks shiny, and it lets people know that you supported this indie game, that you support indie games in general. It's sort of a way for people to maybe buy me a coffee. Do you know what I'm saying? If you find yourself entertained by the game for a substantial amount of time, and you find that you've got a couple of loose quarters in your wallet, so to speak. But I grew up very poor, so I know what it's like to not really have like a game budget. And I thought this would be something that would be cool for people who, even if you don't have money, it's like it's just a fun game to play and get a little bit of joy out of. And also, it's a cool way for me to learn a lot about game development. Man, I had a blast doing this. I learned so much. To give you an idea, I spent about a year and a half of my free time just working on weekends, you know, and doing a lot of YouTube tutorials and things like that to learn Game Maker Studio. And that's what it was made in. And I can't really quantify how many hours were put into it other than to say it was an awful lot. So many that you probably, if you knew, you wouldn't try to do it yourself. But at the end of it, super rewarding. So as I was developing this, I thought a lot about you guys. I thought a lot about the letters that I get where people are expressing their frustration with the challenge of learning to be a better artist and learning to draw. And I realized that I'm with you guys. I feel that same pain and challenge of the frustration and my inabilities as I'm trying to become a better programmer and game designer. And I'm feeling that same kind of level of frustration. And I want you to know that it's okay to do that as a hobby. And as long as you keep coming back to it, like that's the joy, that's the true joy of making something and of developing your skills with something. And eventually I'm going to make even better games in the future because I'm going to keep coming back to it because I love it. Even though it's painful at times, I keep coming back to it. You know, I'm also considering doing some tutorials on this, on how to make a simple 2D platformer game in Game Maker Studio. If you're interested in that sort of a thing, drop it in the comments below. I don't know if people would be interested in that from me. I kind of think most people just want me to do artwork here on my YouTube channel, and I'm cool with that too. I love doing that, but this is just my hobby. It's something I want to keep doing, and I might migrate over to doing some Unity stuff next. I'm not entirely sure. But for now, Aikida, the Scrap Hunter, it's complete. Go out there and pick it up. I'd love to get a review from you guys. It would mean so much to me. I will be back next week with a lot of art videos. I guarantee it. In fact, I've already got a couple of them recorded. I'm working on a super exciting project for character design. So don't forget to subscribe. And dudes, until next time, I will catch y'all in mañana. And ciao, baby. Oh, yeah.